again at the Imagining the 10th Dimension video blog. Today's entry is dated September 30th, 2008, and you can read along if you go to 10thdimension.com/blog. I invite you to do so because very often there are hot links you can click on within the text. Today's entry is called the Omniverse Almanac, and that's the background we're looking at today is from the website devoted to that project, which we're talking about. Last week, we talked about the placebo effect and new studies indicating that persons taking a placebo who are convinced that they are taking healthful medicine will often see a statistically significant improvement in their health. As we discussed, this can make blind drug trials much more complicated to interpret. It also shows that we each may have much more control over our own health than we realize. A few weeks ago, I talked about the Omniverse Almanac, a fictional trilogy that addresses a number of ideas that are near and dear to my heart. You can preview the prologue at extramarbles.com. That's what we're looking at, the site that'll come up if you go to that link, and I invite you to do so. The range of ideas explored, even in this introductory section, is extremely broad, so I'd like to focus in on just a few excerpts here. So right now I'm reading from the excerpt that's provided at this site for the Omniverse Almanac's prologue. The Omniverse Almanac drifted through the cold darkness of space for millennia, entered Earth's gravitational field, plunged through the stratosphere, and materialized on the passenger seat of a Volkswagen Beetle traveling along the Santa Monica Freeway on the outskirts of Los Angeles. Due to certain peculiar invariables brought about by the effect of the Big Bang on subquantum space, the Omniverse Almanac had survived the Big Bang intact. The Omniverse Almanac, which was compiled over long millennia by a race of beings who knew a thing or two about really important matters, states in bold type on the cover underneath the title that there is nothing that can enslave a man as much as the offer of an afterlife. Julia Horner, the driver of the Beetle, was born 26 years earlier in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Her father was a Methodist preacher, and her mother lectured on philosophy at Duke University, a combination from which she had never fully recovered. However, Julia's parents had instilled in her from a tender age with an inquisitive spirit, which had led her to California in search of the meaning of life. What exactly is the meaning of life? Well, on the very last page of the Omniverse Almanac, just before the bit that reads, "The absolute and utter end," is an enigmatic answer to this seemingly unanswerable question. The meaning depends entirely on what you mean by the question, and what you mean by the question depends on what you mean by life. Now, there's a certain tongue-in-cheek humor to this writing style that I find very appealing. Based upon the excerpt quoted here, one might assume the trilogy is going to be similar to the writing of Douglas Adams, but as you'll see when you read the entire text sample the author has provided, there are some very deep issues of metaphysics and sociology which this trilogy will be pursuing. In short order, within this opening section, our heroine, Julia, finds herself being mistakenly processed for the afterlife, talking with a transcendent being about all the suffering in the world, traveling in time through the bush-like branching structure of possible futures, and more. Meanwhile, we're rapidly introduced to a cast of strange and wonderful characters who will no doubt figure into the story to come. As a work of fiction, of course, the Omniverse Almanac can play by its own rules. As I've talked about many times in this blog, the scientific definition of the omniverse is somewhat different from that which this book uses, and that matters not a bit. The ideas surrounding souls, forms of awareness from other dimensions, and what happens after we die, though, that you will see when you read the full excerpt, are clearly very connected to the world of ideas that I've been playing with as part of Imagining the 10th Dimension. Those ideas are also tied to Gavin Gerbrand in his book, Everything Forever, Learning to See Timelessness. It was Gavin who first introduced me to the term omniverse, and it was Gavin who introduced us all to an intuitive way of envisioning the set of all possible states that the unfolded symmetry of the omniverse represents. Next blog, we'll discuss Gavin's untimely death in more detail, and we'll see how the ideas we talked about in this blog have some connections to that event. This project is about thinking about the really big picture. Song 1 of the 26 songs attached to this project sums this up with what could be described as the theme song for this project. Everything fits together. So we're going to finish off with one of the videos created for this project. This one was created using text animation, and was created with Ron Scott and I working on it. For Everything Fits Together, that's what we'll be watching. My name's Rob Bryanton. Enjoy the journey.